For me, I never really knew the difference between being religious and being spiritual. I approach things from an experiment perspective. So even the whole idea of trying to run a business was more of me deciding to do this. So like, okay, I'm going to give this 3 years of my life. By the time it's 3 years, I'm going to give it my all until then. And we all have our journey that we go through. So it's not like it's a test or anything, but it's more like you kind of go through that experience because maybe this time when you believe in it, your belief is so strong that it becomes unshakable. It was me realizing that I was in that spiritual closet that we talk about. I was this absolutely analytical, logical person who was running a business, communication, facilitation skills, and I could not talk about all of the spiritual stuff. I think for me, it always comes back to energy somehow, right? It comes back to energetics because I feel that's the core of everything.
Communication coach or spiritual coach? Retreat or meetup? Akashic records or intuitions?
Hello and welcome to another Eunoia story. This time it's going to be my story. Though Eunoia is a part of my story. So because I've been sharing a lot of journeys, spiritual journeys of folks inside Eunoia, I felt like also it's also time maybe because I've just started this channel. It would be good to have to share my own journey as well with the whole spirituality and all of this. So I have invited a couple of folks who are in Eunoia, who recently joined Eunoia, who've been in Eunoia and not there anymore. A good mix of folks, some lovely friends, to kind of do this like sort of like an interview kind of a thing where they get to ask me questions so that it's not just me talking about my journey, which will feel like a little like a boring history lesson rather, and have it be more interactive and fun. So kind of like an interview of sorts where I get to share how it has been so far. So please say hello to, we have Shraddha, Mansi, and Falguni here. So Mansi has already been
Hi.
here. She's done a video of Eunoia Stories. And then we have Shraddha, who is an ex-Eunoia member. She's been there for a long time. And though currently not in Eunoia. But it's good to have her back. It feels like the gang is like kind of like getting back. And we have also have Falguni, who is a very new member and who's just joined Eunoia recently. So say hello everyone and let's begin.
Hi.
Hello.
Wonderful. So before we get into it, like a quick overview or an outline of my journey. I have to go back to where it all began. So 2020, where I was still a full-time employee. I was a training lead in an organization, and I was working there full-time, taking care of training the training team, doing a lot of corporate training stuff. And that's when it was COVID as well. And when that happened, I was at these crossroads kind of a time in my life where I was like, what do I do? Like, this doesn't feel like where I want to stick. And then I decided to maybe get into the online coaching space. So, and since my forte had always been communication, so I started with communication coaching online. And from there, through that, through trying to run a business online, which I now realize running a business is a very, very spiritual thing. It's your spiritual growth trying to run a business. I did not know it then. I just thought logically, let's do it. I know everything. I can put all my effort into doing it. And I realized that, yeah, something was definitely missing, which got me started into spirituality, trying to find what was that thing that was getting me stuck, not helping me move. And that opened like a can of worms, rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it. And that's how my journey began. And eventually I decided to stop communication coaching because it was like I had two directions. I had spirituality that had how do I put this? I had not decided to teach, but eventually just got into it. And it was so much in flow, whereas communication felt so challenging all of a sudden. And I was like, I have this thing now. I need to decide. And it felt right to eventually pivot completely into spirituality because that was what was calling me. And then I got into more deeper things. And where I am right now is crazy, considering this is not where I thought I would end up. So very, very brief overview. Currently, I do have my Eunoia membership, of which the stories you guys are listening to. And then I do a bunch of other different things in this coaching online business space as well. So that's a little brief overview. Now I'm going to open it up to my girls here for questions. And let's have fun now.
Okay, so I have a question. So, as you told from the communication, you moved to here, that we all know, right?
Yeah.
But are you a spiritual person from the childhood or like from your younger age or something?
That's actually a very interesting question. So, like, for me, I never really knew the difference between being religious and being spiritual. Matlab, Facebook or Orkut had this question, right? Religious or spiritual. I did not know the difference. I genuinely did not know the difference. It was not about knowing it from a definition perspective. Well, that never clicked. I'm like, what is the difference between these two? That was my concept. And from a very religious family by default. So I wouldn't say I was that religious from a young, but I always felt like I had this connection. Like I used to talk to God. Like I always believed in a higher power. One thing I could never believe in was like people who we consider as saints and people who we look up to as gods. That was something I could never connect with, but I always believed in a higher power. So I used to have conversations that used to be like, please let me pass this exam. you know so it was more like conversations.
That we all have, right? During the result.
Exactly, right? So let me get through. I haven't studied, or I'm very scared. Like, so basic kind of conversations that you have, but I believed in a higher power. And eventually, a lot of things I later realized were like, I literally manifested this in my life. But at that point, I didn't know. I just believed in something bigger than me because it always felt to be the case. So, slightly religious, did not know what was spirituality. Mine was literally like a fall. I literally fell into it, is how I look at it. Because until then, I had zero concept of any of this. When people used to talk about it also, I don't think I ever understood. I never got the idea ever. It just didn't click. I belong to that category of people where it doesn't click until it is that time for it to click, I feel. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes.
I mean, just hearing the conversation, everything is like so wholesome right now. I'm like, wow, it feels so good. I got my flashback how I started working with you, like communication, everything. I wanted to ask you that, for example, you did all the coaching business, you applied all the marketing strategies, the branding, those colors, everything. I remember it very clearly. What were the things that actually led you to actually surrender or maybe try out that maybe spirituality is something I could look into? Was it someone else that you took coaching from or read somewhere, or what was that initial, you
Hmm.
know?
I get it. So, interestingly, I've been just writing as well now. Like I feel called to write a lot more. So I was writing, and I think just today I started writing where it all began in a way, just like snippets. And I did write like an entire series of the teacher and the student, which kind of talks about my journey with different people whom I've learned from in my life. So I wrote it like a 4-part blog series. But to give you like an idea, I feel it was not about fully believing and jumping into it. It was more like I approached things from an experiment perspective. So even the whole idea of trying to run a business was more of me deciding to do this. So like, okay, I'm going to give this 3 years of my life. By the time it's 3 years, I'm going to give it my all until then. And then we'll decide whether I want to go back to a job, whether I want to go back to something else, or what happens. Life shifted in those 3 years completely. And there were so many times where I was like, am I doing the right thing? Because, like you said, I tried everything. I literally tried all of the bro marketing stuff, that typical corporate marketing stuff that you're supposed to do for running a business. But it's not actually what works for everybody, right? But I didn't know then. I didn't know different at that point in time. I didn't know the whole point that trying to actually set up a business takes so much out of you. It literally, it's like holds up a mirror and shows you all of your problems. It just puts you out there and makes you realize so much of yourself. Or that's how it felt. Like I was like being shown that I wasn't doing well, which was not a good thing for me, because I always was a person who liked to excel and do good at things. And that's what thought I will do well in this as well. Like, it's just a matter of fact. But it was not to be so. Logic. I tried everything logical that I could. I invested in learning every possible thing and experimenting with every possible thing in the logical sense. But that wasn't to be. And I think because I'm open to that experimenting and realizing that, okay, people are talking about this. I was in this online space where people are talking about manifestation and this. And I was like, I'm okay to give this a shot, because by that time I had experienced a little bit of it with just gratitude and small things at that point of time. Right. So I was a little open, I would say, at that point to even experiment with something that felt too good to be true. I will say too good to be true. Like I was the kind of person who used to laugh at it. But because I tried everything, I'm like, okay, what else can I do? Because I think that's what it brings you down to. You want to succeed in something so much that you are willing to try whatever comes your way to make it work. I think that's what actually got me started. And because I was ready, I realized I found people who were there to help, whether I learned from someone, whether it was someone's membership I joined, or whether I joined Swapna's coaching, which I again talk about it. So she was the initial person who kind of helped me get a really good idea about what this manifestation space is. And then through Lenka, then going even beyond. So I actually gone through this too much in detail. My question is, should I go about it in detail again here? Because, I've learned from a lot of people, different aspects. And that's why I wrote the blog. It was me kind of honoring the beautiful, amazing teachers that I learned from in the course of my journey. So, but again, if you'd like me to go, I will go in deep wherever you want me to. But did I answer that question?
Yes, yes, yes. I understood like how you were open to it, which led you to this another path where you were like, okay, let me try this also.
I feel that curiosity and experimentation is required when you want something to work. Especially in a business, I think I didn't decide it to be that way, but it is just my mindset that I will still give everything my shot before I decide that this is not for me. I think I've always had that kind of mindset.
Yeah,
मतलब पूरा का पूरा जितना मतलब full attempt, give my full, and when I've done that, I know, it's like done and dusted for. But again, with time, I'm also learning that maybe sometimes you don't need to know. Once you realize it's no longer, but this comes with a lot more trust building that I've been doing with my own self. So now I trust that intuitive things that tells me that this is not right. So I'm ready to drop things faster instead of now pushing too much. But that mentality helped a lot then. I needed that mindset then. Now do I need it? I think depends on the situation. This is an unasked question, but
that's
I
nice.
just went in flow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's actually so beautiful from a person being so calculative and analyzing and logical to actually surrender and be like, okay, now I need to drop this because I have that intuition. I mean, the journey is like,
It's been a difficult but a good journey, I would say. Now where I am looking at it, I'm so glad I went through all of those difficult times. It felt difficult and very challenging at that point, but now it's good because it's made life so much better.
Yeah, Reshma, Falguni.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, as you know, I've just joined the Eunoia, like it's just 10 days after joining. So my husband was asking me, like, what is this? So it's really difficult to explain someone. So just wanted to, ask you, like, how to explain someone, like, what can I expect from Eunoia? from 1 month or 3 months or 1 year. Like how to explain it to someone? Like it was like someone's call. Like I was following your stories, and I there was some like attraction or something was there. Like I wanted to join, and I didn't knew about what is to expect or whatever. But I joined for some weird reason. But how to explain it to somebody else?
We are not laughing at you. Trust me,
Ah,
Nan, because
we're not laughing at you.
I let these girls talk about this.
That is your literal answer that you cannot
Yeah.
explain. That is the answer that you cannot explain it in words. It's just going to be your experience. And when you look back, you've realized how far you have come. And then it would like sort of make, I mean, you can't explain. Reshma used to say, market kaise karu, bro? Kya bolu? So,
Actually, when I was hearing your story, so when you explain like religious stuff, I can connect with it because I was very religious since childhood because of my parents and my grandparents and everything. Like we used to pray every day. I used to do puja and everything. But during my lifetime, like lots of trauma and things happened, and I started to question everything. So it was easy for me to manifest in the childhood believing in everything, higher power and everything. But now it's really difficult. Like whenever I stand in front of God or whatever, I never believed in saints or anything like as in person, as you said. But I believed in God, some higher power, something is there, and I still believe sometimes because things happen, some miracles happen. So I still believe. But then sometimes I question like, what is the point of doing it? Like, is it? I can't explain the question itself, but
Yeah.
that's why I joined Eunoia, like to understand at a deeper level, like, is there any problem in me? Like I am doing it wrong or anything? How
No.
come it was very easy in childhood and now it's really difficult to believe in something?
You
And
know,
manifesting is really difficult right now.
that's okay. You know why? I feel that we all have our journey that we go through. So it's not like it's a test or anything, but it's more like you kind of go through that experience because maybe this time when you believe in it, your belief is so strong that it becomes unshakable. Before, maybe you believed because of people, you just went in with that because it was what was right. Your parents, your family does it. So it was it. But this time you're building back that belief by yourself, and that will not leave you. Right? So what little bit is there, you just keep building on top of that. Not like,
Okay.
more like show me, I'm ready, but show me. I like that approach always. So a lot of times I do this with, I get so fed up of like overthinking or something. I'm like, listen, I'm done. Leaving it to you, you show me. You tell me what now, because I am no longer breaking my head over this. And you know what? It's actually easier that way. And things start falling into place. It's like, we want to complicate things, but things are actually pretty simple, right? I'm not going into the nitty-gritties, but it is what it is. So I will say that maybe all of this happened. See, I wouldn't, you're still new, right? But I
Yeah.
will say this, we go through experiences that we are meant to go through because we're to grow from them. They are all things that, I won't say they are easy, that, it happened for you yet, because if I say that now, you're going to be like, I hate you. You won't like me for saying this, but we kind of, I think, when you start looking back and saying that everything was a part of my experience because I'm meant to learn from this is how I'm going to grow this, it made me who I am, right? So that is an important thing. So slightly changing your perspective, holding on to that little bit of belief, and then being open for it, just being open for it, being curious and saying, let me see. That's a better way for you to start or restart this journey than trying to be like, I need to solve this. I will say that that extreme approach never works, because then that would desperate aspect comes into the picture. You're like, if this has to fix me, is never the way. Instead, be curious, be open, be like, okay, let's see. Playful, go approach it with more like, yeah, life is difficult, there is so much problems that we've been through, but that does not mean that I have to make everything so serious. Yeah, serious things serious, yes, we have to be serious, but can my approach be a little different? Can my approach be a little bit more open, more hopeful, more playful, more joyful, and more like, theek hai. We've gone through so much. It can only get better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer your previous question, none of us knew how to explain Eunoia. These guys have been there since I started. We couldn't explain. And the problem was, obviously, how do I market or even talk about this program? But as Eunoia feels to me, it's like Eunoia feels like an entity that I'm just like a medium through which, this thing is running. So it always felt like Eunoia will call in its own people. Like you said, you just felt that call, that attraction, and that's what it's been for almost everyone who's come in and who stayed. That internal call that you're answering is what it is, because it's even now, after now running it for the 3rd year, I have a little bit more clarity on what it is, but still I will still just say that it's more about, like I said, it's more about finding and becoming you, right? We've forgotten ourselves, we've lost ourselves, and this is a way to find our way back to ourselves. When I say ourselves, it's that soul, it's that part of you, it's who you were meant to be all along. But like, we've taken on so much that we now are just peeling all of those layers, and Eunoia is your space where you get to peel all of those layers and find that way back to yourself. And in this course, you learn how to create that kind of life that you enjoy and start loving, and love living day to day, enjoying the small things. And that's what is my hope, at least, to be able to help people do that. I feel that that's what drives me to continue doing, with the 3rd year now. But yeah, now I'm better able to talk about first 2 years. So I was like, if you feel called to join, join. This is what is happening inside. That's all I could tell people. But even I understood more with time, actually. That's why we were laughing. We've had this whole problem. How many times in the chat these girls were like, Reshma, people are asking how to talk. What is Eunoia? What do I say? What is Eunoia? I was like, even I don't. Yeah.
How this like idea came up to you, like how the birth of Eunoia like done, like you have started for yourself or like in the journey, but the community, how you have started, like what that nudge you followed.
Interesting. I'm just trying to go back to that point where I think it all kind of, that seed was kind of sown. It was me realizing that I was in that spiritual closet that we talk about. I was this absolutely analytical, logical person who was running a business, communication, facilitation skills, and I could not talk about all of the spiritual stuff. And that was very difficult for me to showing up online. Yeah. So showing up online was very, very challenging because of this. And it was like, what do I say on my stories? Because what I'm doing, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is more spiritual in nature. It's not really the logical business kind of stuff, right? What am I supposed to say? So that became a big disconnect. And with every day, the more and more I felt to talk about the things that I was learning, especially at that time, I was deep into human design and energetics. Like those were the 2 topics that I was, I even created like a small group of friends, and I helped with them with human design report banake, and shared. You were there, right, Shraddha? I actually was so interested, and I started almost teaching human design at that point to these girls. And this was even before Eunoia started, because I was so into it. See, and I'm this person who, if I'm learning, I like to teach. I like to talk about what I'm learning. So it was so difficult for me, and that was creating like an identity crisis of sorts. So at that point, that year was fully Lenka, right? Like I was following Lenka. I literally was attending and learning everything, because she's that person whom I learned energetics. Though she's more from an energetics for business perspective. So I thought this would help me with business, right? But eventually all of that I took and started applying it to my entire life. So I was in one of her small workshops that she had done at that point. And I realized that I needed to come out of this spiritual closet. because I wanted so much to talk about empathy engineer was born in that workshop, right? It was like I just had like these mind-blowing insights about emotions and all of that, because I'd worked on it so much. And I was like, I need to share, I need to talk about this. But I was still stuck in that spiritual closet. And through that program, I actually could take that leap of faith and decide that, okay, I am going to. And then I started actually slowly talking about it, realizing that I'm going to now share this part of it. I slowly started, and then because it was the end of the year, this was around 2021 ke end mein tha. So 2021 or 2022. When did we start, 2023, right?
2023.
23, 24, 25. Huh. So 2022 December, sorry, 2022 end then. So 2022 end, it was like December. I had gone on a Goa trip with my friends Ananya and Palak. And I was in that space where I really wanted to talk to more people. It was like, I want to have more of these conversations with spiritual. So it was like an intention that I set for myself, that I want to meet more people, or, find people whom I can talk about all of this. And in that month, something happened. I had done some, those small Eunoia sessions like New Year ka, mid-year reset, and full moon, new moon circles. But like, very few sessions I had done in that year. But and then another friend who was also there in Eunoia, Samreen, was there. So she was like, Reshma, you should do maybe something. I helped her. We on chat, I was able to help her figure out something. So she's like, you should maybe, do something. And it may be stuck. And then in the course of the next couple of minutes or an hour, I would say, it just started building up, as a projector, invitations. That invitation was so crucial at that point of time. It was like, maybe I can do like a book thing, and then we can do a couple of circles, and maybe I can just teach a topic or two. That was all Eunoia was supposed to be. 2 calls a month where I'm going to teach the things that I learned, right? And in the first month, we did 12 sessions. Matlab, we did 12 sessions in the very first month. I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, and I covered everything, empathy engineering, I taught visualize. So much happened in that 1 month in, I was like, and it just took a life of its own eventually. So it's like all of the small series of things, right? So I don't think anything is ever like that big light bulb moment. I didn't decide to create Eunoia. I just wanted to create a space, and I got everything out of it. I got people to talk about. We have a chat where we just share spiritual memes because we are laughing at all of it, right? I mean, we do all of this. Can you imagine this? I didn't have the space of folks to talk about. Now we have this, like, a really good community, right? We have amazing bonds, and trust me, none of this was planned. There was nothing of any sort. It was just me wanting to share what I wanted to share. And that's your, a birth story.
So, and have you ever thought like this community you wanted to create will go like from like 2 or 3 people to like
Oh my God.
this many people, and this chat and this conversation?
No, never, never ever expected. Like, I run Eunoia on a yearly basis because I don't know what's going to happen.
What-
This is in my own entire training career, my entire career of me running programs. And like, Talk Shop was the one that was probably bigger, but that was also like a small batch and multiple batches. So I did like 5 batches of Talk Shop in a way. But this is the longest running thing I have ever done, because I don't like doing things again and again. I get very bored very quickly, which is why nothing I do ever lasts beyond a certain point. I move on very quickly. Variety is required. But this, I never expected it to last this long. See, before Eunoia, I didn't understand community building. I didn't get community building. Like, I'm like, kya community building? But it happened on its own inside Eunoia. I didn't need to plan how to build a community or make this community so come together so well. nothing was intentionally like planned and done, which I think is the beauty of Eunoia. Oh, khud ka, it has its own life and I'm just there for the ride. Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, my whole life is flashing in front of me. Talk shop se leke engineering, empathy engineering was like, oh my God, like the best. Or wo, everything changed. Like, oh, I'm like, oh God, मैंने क्यों छोड़ा?
Doors are always open.
You
Yeah,
can.
I'm like,
I just wanted to say that. Come again.
I think, okay, fine. I'm like out of questions, but I feel so many things कि ये भी एक part था life का. I mean, I was growing so much, I was learning so much, but it's like, and acha, how do you feel when you actually see others' life changing? Like so many people have come because you can see your growth and all that, but लोग आके बताते हैं ना, like how is their journey
Yeah.
been, and how do you like feel about it? How do you see that
I
thing?
see, for a trainer or a coach, I think, or a teacher, however you want to put that out, I think the best thing about what we do is when people see changes in them, when they're able to apply them. I couldn't work in a corporate environment because it was not people oriented, it was uh, results oriented, and results not from a people perspective. In one of the companies that I was working in, they were actually people oriented, like people growth. So I missed that so much in the last organization that I was working in. It was very numbers oriented and, just profits. It was all about hitting that target. And if you are a good coach, a good trainer, a good teacher, that's not what your focus is. Your focus is the people and seeing people grow, learn. Even trust me, it's not like the final result is like, it's like wo to matlab unexpected. Okay, imagine like a teacher, school teacher seeing their kids grown up. They're like, oh my God, they've left school, they've gone on to do amazing things. But that joy that you feel from seeing that, for me, that is yet to come, you guys, because I know that everyone who's been has so much yet to achieve, right? But every part, the fact that when people are there for the sessions, when they're listening, when they are putting things into action, or implement karke, when people come and share ki this is what happened, those are the things that bring me most joy, to be honest, than just the results that people are getting. Because I've seen all of your journeys so closely, right? And even then, I'm surprised, when I was doing these interviews, I'm so surprised to see how much you guys actually have used the content. I didn't expect it. That makes me feel joy, because as a coach, as a teacher rather, the fact that you're using what I'm saying, that brings me more joy. And anything additional is when you're saying that, this happened because of this. That's like next level stuff. But that is not even my focus. Even I think when I was in communication coaching, I was more happy that people were like so happy to speak confidently. I spoke up in this thing. I spoke in this job mila, hike mila. I was never, that is like, I know it'll happen on its own. I never wanted to market those results. I got a job of this, I got this much. I never liked to market from that perspective. My focus was always, are people able to change because of this? Are they able to feel better because of this? And that those kind of results are what make me happy. When people come and say, I'm feeling so better doing this, I feel happy that I'm getting this kind of an experience. Even today someone shared that, they felt this magical experience with doing something. That makes so much of a difference. That is what brings me the most joy. Baki sare results, whatever is meant to happen will happen. I'm obviously happy about that. But the fact that you apply, listen, take it and implement it, I think not just from a teacher, but being a projector who's giving that, from human design perspective, who's giving that guidance, when seeing that being utilized makes us feel the most seen. And, I think that's what it is for me.
That's beautiful. That's actually beautiful. Oh God, I'm feeling so many emotions. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just so, मतलब मेरे को ऐसा आ रहा है ना कि I I was like, I did very logically कि ठीक है, I need to figure out my finances. अब मेरा अंदर का मेरा हो गया, कर लिया, फिगर छोड़ दिया ना काम. You were not able to do your job. Now you know where you actually feel the growth, the transformation, and everything. But yeah, I mean, I still feel so grateful that you started everything, you're doing it, you're still doing it, changing so many lives. I mean, जो नए लोग हैं, they have no idea आगे क्या होने वाला है. It's like, it's just gold, pure gold. है ना मानसी?
Yeah, we know that. Like how, like 2 years back, how was I, and right now, who am I? So the journey is like beautiful, and definitely I thank to Reshma, but of course Shraddha, you too, because you introduced me to Reshma for the communication,
Oh, wow.
right? And then
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah,
started
yeah.
following Reshma and everything, and then I come to this spirituality with Reshma.
हाँ, I remember you joined a little late, थोड़ा late,
Yes,
मतलब
yes.
January mid type you joined, I remember.
January, हाँ, first week में ही, just
हाँ,
I didn't join that first circle, right? I didn't
right.
opening, and then I have started.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. I remember you joined a
I
little late. You were like, I
Yeah.
didn't know something was like this, like you were doing what? Oh, now I'm thoda flashback.
so
Wow.
nice. Oh my God.
All right, ladies. Any other questions?
Okay, so you taught us everything, right, in the
Hmm.
Eunoia, and what is your favorite topic?
Oh, challenging, very challenging, very
So many
challenging. Oh my
topics.
God, I love all of them. Like you guys know how much I love. Like I love empathy engineering. I love visualization. I love क्या किया है? Like one though I've forgotten all of the stuff that we have inside. Currently, Soul Talk we're doing. We did Infinity. We did Stacks. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm going to need a minute to process this because, but I think from my own perspective, I will say what is a topic rather than from a Eunoia perspective, what is a favorite topic of mine. I think for me, it always comes back to energy somehow, right? It comes back to energetics because I feel that's the core of everything. Obviously we have like subconscious mind rewiring. Now I'm working with the records, then there's all of it, well, then this and that, and empathy, sharing emotions, we have everything, but I feel the core of it is still energy. Understanding your energy, I feel, makes the biggest difference somehow. And I will say energy as a whole, as a topic, learning to utilize and work with your energy, it's a very broad topic because whatever I say comes under energy in some way or the other. It comes under the bracket. But just the topic of energy, I feel like understanding that you are energy. That I think makes a difference because when you realize that your energy, you're not matter, you're not like this concentrated form, and you can actually choose to change because everything is energy, then your reality is subject to change. You can actually make a difference. That kind of feeling that it gives, it makes you feel very powerful. And knowing that at any point, if you decide, you can shift that energy. You can work with your energy. You do not need anybody, anything to help you here. This is absolutely in your thing to make a difference in your life. And I think it's possible because understanding that core aspect of that, we are just energy. Everything is energy at the end of the day. I think that is that core thing over which everything kind of builds on. And वो जब underlying that foundation is strong, right? I feel everything just brings more value into it. It's like it only makes everything better. But without that foundation, you're just like, हाँ, ये human design है, ये है, वो, that, this is what ties everything together. Yeah. So I feel that will always be my favorite topic because that's what I started talking about in Eunoia as well. The first month, for that matter, beginner stack is all about energy. Empathy engineering is connected to the fact that everything is energy, your understanding of the soul and all of that. So yeah.
Beautiful. We are learning here too, right? By listening to you.
I love how beautifully you explain everything. I'm
Explain
like,
everything.
oh, I miss this, bro. What are you Man, swear.
So we are looking you as a person, like for our inspiration. Like right now, also you're talking, and we see you as our inspiration. Almost all of us in the Eunoia. So how you like to whom you are looking at, like for your inspiration or something like that.
She's
Okay.
done her research. She's done
Sorry,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
job.
Yes. Because
full
actually,
homework करके आई हूँ.
and also such interesting and good questions. Okay, as a projector who loves answering questions, this is so good. And also interesting because how come, Mansi, you're bringing up things that I have been thinking about and I've been writing about? This was one of the things that I wanted to record. I was thinking, no, 35 lessons I will talk about. This was going to be one of them. Chalo, idhar ho gaya. So, inspiration, right? Okay, here's the thing. You know, in school, when they ask you who is your favorite celebrity or who is this star person you look up to, you are inspired by. I never was inspired by Gandhi, Monday. Like I was not that person. I just could not, and I used to feel like, am I weird? Because when people ask who is inspires you, I used to be like my aunt who's learning to become a doctor, and one of my uncles who's amazing in his job. And I felt like, am I stupid, or like, is there something wrong with me? As a child, you obviously have these questions. Like, why don't I feel enamored by any of these heroes? So I used to read about them. We used to have those essay books, not to read about these. I'm like, no, I like these people whom I'm able to see in front of me and the things that they do that inspire me, right? Because what I now realize is I was inspired by them and I started kind of cultivating that, trying to become them. I was inspired by this person in school who was the greenhouse captain, and I was like, oh, I like, and I want to become. And I spent years from 6th to 11th standard working on building that kind of this personality who could become that greenhouse captain. And from there, it was like, who inspires me? So when you ask me this question, like, who inspires me? It keeps changing, it keeps evolving, because I feel that I look up to someone and I'm like, oh, wow, you know, I really love this person. Whatever, it could not be everything that they're doing, but it could be something that is very, you know, I admire that in them. And it ends up that I start working on it somehow, directly, indirectly, and then it becomes a part of me. And then there's always somebody new whom I'm always looked up to. And this has actually been my journey. So when I start looking back is when I realized that this is what I've been doing, being inspired by people and their amazing qualities. And then I start, and then understanding spirituality, you kind of realize what you admire in people, you admire because you have that in you already. It's just hidden. So that's why you're so enamored, and when you get there, you get there. But this, the vice versa is also true. When you don't like something in somebody, that is also something that you don't like in you. You do not know it probably fully yet. You know, the concept of mirroring that we talk about, right? So knowing this helped me again even more understand, and I started to work on the negative aspects as well. But if I don't like something in somebody, how can I work on myself? So, but coming back to the question, I have been inspired by so many people. Recently, I was feeling that lack of vision. I was like, there's nothing that inspires me anymore. So, मैं कहाँ जा रही हूँ types. Because before this, I was inspired by people, amazing coaches out there who were channeling oracle decks, or who do channeled art, who do, these retreats kind of a thing. And all of that was inspiring me, and I got into channeling, and now I'm doing all of that at a small decent scale. I'm doing all of that, and I'm like, what next? Because I look for people to inspire me. And recently, Rebecca Campbell, I don't know if I want to share this, but you know what, let me go ahead and put it out there. I just, because I was lacking that vision basically as to look who to be inspired, because there are two people who recently have it's caught my attention, and this is what I'm like moving towards probably. Rebecca Campbell, you guys know, she has amazing oracle decks and books. She recently put up her latest collection, her books and her decks. So she's like the family picture, the latest family picture karke. It was all of her books and decks, and in that caption she had written 2017 this was launched, 2018 this was launched karke, 2024. I was like, I want this in 10 years time. I want this. I want a picture of my stuff out there in 10 years time, right? And it was like an unconscious immediate click, and I'm like, okay, I immediately screenshot, put it, and say, this is one of the things that I'm looking forward to now, putting more stuff out there, like my body of work in a sense, right? I've been working on it, but and then another person, so one of the coaches of mine spoke about her coach, and I was like, who's this person? This person doesn't have a social media presence. But I went into her site and I found it very beautiful. Like the way she talks about things, the way she does her work, very chilled out, no in your face kind of a thing. People just join her for coaching or whatever she has to offer. But she's pretty, I don't see a big social media presence that, this person is constantly out somewhere. Something there is like, slowly calling me. Maybe that kind of energy, that very feminine energy of, being a little laid back and letting things flow, that is also very inspiring right now. Because I'm still in the space of being out there, and, getting more people. And I get that it's different stages. So eventually I want to get to that space where I'm chilled out, doing my thing, whether I still enjoy social media. I'm a very social media person. I don't think I'll ever go off, but knowing that doesn't have to be so, on it all the time, and maybe just relaxing into it. So these are two recently inspiring things, because it's all about, again, see, I talk about this. You get inspired because you admire something, because that's in you. And the minute I saw her site and I was just I went through her entire thing, and I was like, oh my God, this energy is so beautiful. It's authentic, it's raw, it's in your face, the kind of person I want to be, aspire to be, upright, sweet, nice, but still give it straight, and also have this very chilled out, laid back vibe. And I'm like, oh, something here is so good, and the other aspect of wanting to have my own body of work. I think these are things that are right now inspiring me. If you had asked me like a few weeks ago, I did not have a vision and I was really lost, and I was thinking, Abhi kya hai? What am I doing? I'm just going, I'm just enjoying my life. Maybe that's all. Eventually I'll know. But now I feel like slowly things are, that picture is coming together in a way, at least the next steps.
Love that. And we are waiting for like that 10-year story and everything.
Hannah,
Yeah,
I want
right.
to write.
It's beautiful.
I want to write that story. It's like, this came this. And I'm working on one of the texts. And ever since that post, I'm like, and also talking about the communication book that I recently stopped. And I've been looking at all my content and I'm like, Reshma, I should have just shared all of this. Well, I was just waiting for it to perfect it and ekdam sahi se banana hai and all this bullshit. And so much good stuff never got put out there. So I'm like telling myself, write. Don't wait for the perfect day to write. If you feel like, write that book or write whatever you want to. So, but trying to do it without pressure. So it's for me also, it's helpful in some way, just deciding to put it out there, and I want to do that post, it's like I launched this. When I say this, I feel like, this person who's very weird who wants her, but I don't know, it feels good. I know it's like me wanting my thing out there, but at the same time I let it not take away, become something I'm so attached to either. If I write, I put that stuff there. I don't attach so much to it anymore. So, which is a good thing. So I'm happy to create stuff and put it out there for people. Anyway, before we go off topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reshma, one question. Why Eunoia is just for women? Like, any reasons, particular reason?
Very good question. I did not begin it with the intention of keeping it only for women, actually. It was open for men, but predominantly by that time, even all my communication, content, courses, programs, people, mostly it was women, and a small category, like percentage of men who used to join. So even with Eunoia, it became so that it was all women initially for a few months, though I did not restrict in at all. And what happened was, in the course of a couple of months, initially people were still not very open to sharing. They were learning, they were there, but it got to a point when people were sharing some very deep stuff, things that are very personal in nature, and I wanted to maintain that space. So the first time a guy actually asked, I would like to join, it was like an instant knowing that no, I cannot. I do not want to let go of this space, the safe space that has been created for women. Right. And if you now look at it, the energy of Eunoia is very feminine. We are more about tapping into that feminine energy for women who have been masculine driven for a very, very long time. Because that's pretty much most of us who have come in. We are very in that logical, analytical people who've been like that all our lives and who need this feminine energy. And it made sense not to have masculine energy in it to kind of, move the energy of the space. That one person asking, how can I join? Decided that for me in that moment, I do not want to change the space that I've created. I do think, that, so much of this content would benefit everybody, right? And there are points when I still think maybe, but I don't know. I still, that part in me that is like, no, I choose to listen to that voice because it's not, it's been always good to listen to that, which, especially with Eunoia, it's very strong. And the more I've connected with the essence of Eunoia, it's always been women. It's a women's circle, right? So it doesn't make sense for me to expand this beyond. So maybe I'll just find, if at all, people need to learn from me, I'm sure they'll find other ways too, other than women. That is, or you know what? I feel that, see, not everyone is meant to be helpful for everyone. I am a certain kind of a person who would not appeal to everybody, right? I'm right for a certain group of people who like everything that I am as a person, but not everyone does. Some people find me too weird or too much this, too much that, right? So I feel that this is for a reason, maybe to ensure that I'm doing or helping the right kind of people who need to be helped through me.
That when you said no, one person asking, you will be like, no. Sometimes you just know, right, in your body that it's not like something against you. But I feel like you said, case everyone's in their masculine so much, they are trying to shed it. That's why they are in,
Exactly.
to actually stop hustling and logical, all that. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I didn't see that point. I did not know that this was the reason. Now looking back, I can understand why that instinct came to say no. Now I understand it. So I'm glad I listened to it then without even knowing the reason behind it. Because at that mind, if I had listened to my logical mind, it's like, you're cutting off so much revenue, so many more people, all that would have easily come in, right? But that was not the idea. Now I understand why. Bigger picture, exactly what it is, that we want to shed that masculine energy. At least there's this one space where you can do that in small ways. Yeah. So now there is clarity.
So you have any your daily routine practice or something like that which you do on the regular basis?
I don't think so.
For sure, no. Actually, no. Absolutely no.
Daily routine. does not go hand in hand for Reshma.
Does not. Absolutely does not. I was this person who always wanted to create routines for myself and be consistent. And after I found human design, which told me you don't,
Projector.
not projector, my variables tell me that I'm not meant to be consistent. You're meant to be in flow. And then experimenting being in flow, life was sorted. My God. So I don't have set practices. I don't do set practices. I do not have routines at all. One day I'll wake up at 7, one day I'll wake up at 10, one day I'll wake up at 11, one day. My life has no routine, right? There is absolutely no routine, but I thrive in flow, which actually helps me because I thrive in flow. It's good for me to not set myself down to certain routines. But what I prefer to do is stack things, like stack small habits, small things, because I feel that even that doesn't last long. Basically, nothing lasts long with me. Having accepted that nothing will last long with me, I put effort to become really good at something. And then I chill out. Whenever I need it, I know I can use that for me. For me, there are practices that I go back to, but nothing that I follow on a day-to-day, everyday basis. But if I have to say one thing that I do actually do on a, not just on a daily basis, but on a very moment-to-moment basis, is I'm very aware. And I try to stay very aware. When I say try to stay very aware, this helps me in so many ways. One, being in flow and allowing myself to create in flow, listening to my intuition, which is splenic intuition, which only speaks in the minute and then 5 minutes later it'll vanish. So which means I need to be very aware and in my body, very mindful of what I'm doing for me to hear all of these whispers of things that come to me. So that is what I actually do. And it's not like I have to force myself to do it. I'm constantly doing it. I'm aware of the thoughts that are running in my mind. I'm aware of the ideas that flow into my mind. I'm aware of what's happening in my surrounding. I'm aware of what's going on inside of me, internally, physically, emotionally. I'm very tuned in to what's happening with me. That actually helps me do what I need to do. Any practice that I need to tap into to help me with it if I find that something is going a little off track. Because being in this kind of a flow, with this kind of awareness, I get something, I start writing. I get something, I do it. And when I do it in that moment, there's more energy, the right kind of energy that goes into it. So if you ask me what's a practice that I follow, it's just being fully in that moment, right? And so I get lost in certain things. Like if I'm doing art, I get really lost in making something. If I'm working fully, I just get zoned out. I have that amazing focus that I get zoned out. But I'm very still mindful of what's running inside of me constantly. That awareness is what I feel helps me to make the right kind of shifts at the right kind of time, take the right kind of actions. So if you know me, I keep telling awareness is key, right? If you're aware, you can change it. So I think that's the one thing that I follow is awareness. The next thing would be intentions, but that is very irregular again. I keep setting intentions randomly. Okay, ye ho gaya, ye ho gaya, ye ho gaya. So I set intentions, move on. I decide something and I move on. So that part is there in me. I think that's the only standard thing in my life, is that awareness that I've brought into my life, which I'm very, very happy about.
And that is exactly like a beautiful, right? We need to aware of our like body and our intuitions, and we need to work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really beautiful.
I did not know the answer to that, but it made sense because that's what I feel constantly keeps me going, and deciding, okay, why am I troubled by this? Something here. Then I can journal about it, or then I can meditate on it, or then I can figure out how to work on it. Then I'll use the right kind of practice to fix it or move through it or allow myself to be in it. So that awareness is what helps me do the rest of my practices. Pretty much. Yeah. So yeah.
Again, lots of
Love
learning
the
to us.
answer. Yeah.
That's good. It's always good.
Yeah.
For me also,
Right.
a lot of realizations.
Saying it out loud, I guess, thoda realization ho jata.
हाँ.
How has the journey been in terms of your relationships, like family, people around you? Is it like a very lonely journey, or do you like, are you scared? I mean, I don't know. How has the journey been?
Um, so, okay. One, relationships wise, I feel that it has improved a lot. Like I actually uh worked on set, goals like, okay, I need to work on this relationship this year. I want to fix these relationships this year. I want to have better relationships. It's not about having the perfect relationships. Some it's working relationship is work. Some place a better relationship is better. Some I would love a much more closer relationship. And then knowing that every relationship also has its own seasons. And you have to go with that. It's not always going to be all amazing at all points of time. It'll have its own time which is good together, time where you need time off each other. So from that perspective, my relationship with my husband, with my parents, with my in-laws, with my extended family, all of that I feel is where it is meant to be right now. I'm very happy with where it is. I'm not saying they are all amazing, everything is amazing, but I feel that everything has its own boundary. It has its own place for it to be at this moment in time, right? So that has been great, I will say, because one of the major things that helped me here was human design and empathy engineering, like a combination of these two, right? Human and design helped me to understand the people and stop expecting things that they aren't able to give me, because they are not that kind of people, right? So learning human design helped me understand others, helped me with my all of my relationships massively. And empathy engineering, because you start understanding people from a soul level, that they are not hurting you to hurt you, or you're not going through them, because you start taking what you're responsible. You learn what you're meant to do in this relationship. You start fulfilling your soul contract with those people. You start fulfilling your purpose with those people. You realize that they are here to help you learn something and grow from the experiences that they are putting you through. So every time a relationship has brought up some sort of chaos or challenges, I always look at what am I supposed to be learning from this, right? Because I cannot expect the other person to change. That's not in my control. Who can change is me. So much so that I am from a person who was very emotionally attached and used to get affected by everyone around, to now having very firm boundaries in certain places, which I don't allow people to cross. I don't have to I don't tell people that this is your boundary, but I know that that's a boundary, and I don't let that boundary be crossed, because that is what keeps me same. This is what helps me. That's the best kind of relationship that I can have, whether it's a parent, whether it's a family, whoever it is for that matter. So that has helped. Is it a lonely journey? I think a spiritual journey is a lonely journey. See, we are inside let's say right? We are in a group, but irrespective, it's good to know that everyone's going through similar things. That relatability helps to make things feel a little lighter. But when I was going through this journey, it was a lonely journey. I had no one to talk to. And I live with my husband, who doesn't really understand all of this. We do have great conversations, but that's what I'm saying. At the end of it, the journey is still very unique and individual to you. No one else is going to share your pains. They can try to understand it. They might relate to it. They might be able to give you that compassion, that love that you need, that support that you need along the way. But no one can do it for you. That doing for you has to be done by you only. Right? In that way, it's a very lonely journey. But it's good to have people around, which is where I feel, that's why I like the idea of, where everyone's there together. Why do we share these weird memes where we're all of the spiritual memes that we're going through, is because we can laugh about it. Yes, it's serious. Yes, it's traumatic when you're going through them. But at the same time, it's all about laughing about it as well, right? That's the whole point. You have that sense of people, that community, that makes this lonely journey better. and having this, like, an amazing husband, a great mom, both of whom who are also like understand this journey, whom I can talk to, I can share things about, so supportive. So it kind of, that also helps. So it's that, if it's there, it's there. If not, you have people who understand it. People who understand it definitely makes a difference, right? And then people who are there, irrespective of them understanding, that is a different kind of a support altogether.
So talking about right now relationship, right? So when you have started this journey, how was their like reaction, your husband or your mother reaction?
Um, I don't. So, mom, I will say, if you guys have gone through the sessions, like I've spoken about how like crucial mom was in for me to kind of
Mm-hmm.
start this, because she still very more religious than spiritual, but she understands a lot of it. And I feel that even before my actual journey started, she was already like slowly feeding things to me. But basically, we were having conversations, but she kept sharing a lot of things that did not strike me then. But what I felt it did was that unconscious programming hota na, ab mujhe, like now I know it's unconscious programming. So all of the things that she said were getting stored. And for my mind, all of that information, it at one point, it's like, okay, it clicked. So I feel she's crucial. Even before the journey started, her work was there. Her small bits of pieces were all very crucial. And so she's been very happy. Obviously, she understands where I am. And we keep talking about so many things and all of that. I teach her, she tells me something, and it's those coincidences, synchronicities. She'll say something which makes so much sense for me, and then I say something which then clicks to her. So it's this good connection that we have. With my husband, it's not like he didn't understand, but it was also very new from a perspective of where I was going. But what I would say is he's very open. See, you have to be, because I haven't been a very stable person in my life. Even before starting the business, I was always this person who used to be like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, I was just always jumping around. He's like this stable rock. He's always there, like keeps me anchored kind. So he's so used to me coming up with new things, wanting to do new things. So he'll be like, go do what you like. So I don't think he had a challenge with it, but I think probably right now he's happy for it, because it's everything is improved so much, even within between ourselves and in life overall. So it's also helped him to go back into his spiritual, because he studied in a very spiritual school. And so he is able to come connect back. So we have when we sometimes when I talk about different things, like different new concepts, so he is able to connect, and it makes for great conversations to be able to bring that back. So, and eventually I involved him, because you can only keep so much of your spirituality in that bubble only for a short period of time. It eventually moves into all of your lives, and I slowly brought him into it. Like, we'll do small things together, let's set goals, let's figure out life, and like small things, but eventually we kind of grew into it, and it's a good space. I would say, from that perspective. He'll have his own journey, I have my own journey. But yeah, for these two people, this is how it's been, which helps. I would say having this kind of support system always is very, very helpful when you're doing risky things.
So you're doing regularly a lots of energetic work, right? So how you are maintaining your energy? Because I know I also started working with energies, right? So it's difficult sometimes to maintain your energy in that level. So how you are managing with that?
So when energy work with respect to, like, especially because you're working with records, like you start kind of having a little bit more intense. For example, some of the work that I'm doing with the records requires me to be in a higher energy state. Otherwise, then I can't even channel that information, because of the want of going a little woo woo and off topic, is there's always dark energy as well. Where there's light, there's dark as well. So there are forces that don't want you to do certain things and want you to keep away doing certain things. And I'm not going to say I'm like the best at following all of the things that are told to me. I'm a very stubborn person by default, and I always question everything. But what I try to manage as much as I can, whatever has been told to me. Like, for example, one of the things that I've been told to do, at least records regularly, is to ensure that I'm more protected and maintain my energy, like from staying protected, either which is the house energy or myself, right? So I do use the tools that are shared to stay protected, keep myself protected, and I use them on a regular basis. So whenever I am tapping into for sessions or with whatever it is or my own work, I use the tools that have been given to keep myself protected and my energy protected. That's one of the things that I do. Other than that, I feel that just following and doing things that feel good, that I enjoy, keep me also in a good energy overall. Not allowing myself to go into that overthinking zone or into that negative zone, or like too much forcing myself to do something always starts pushing your energy to the negative side, right? So stopping myself, so which is where that awareness helps. So stopping myself before I go too deep into something and start losing my energy, this kind of definitely helps. The next thing is, if I do get affected, like say suddenly I just fall sick randomly, or it's something is stopping me from doing the work that I meant to do, then I allow myself that little bit of compassion and break and let myself rest, because I feel that that also helps in getting my energy back, in all ways, physical, mental, emotional. So when I say energy, I look at all of it. Emotionally and energy, and emotionally, am I sorted? Mentally, am I giving too much pressure and letting that affect my energy? Physically, am I letting my energy get so affected? And then spiritually as well, I have my tools that can help me from things that don't want me to do. So I think awareness definitely helps, and then allowing myself to lean into whatever is happening and not be so hard on myself. I should have done that. I should have done this. I should have done this better. It's okay. This is where I talk about, like, go with the flow. It's okay. Like, don't take it so seriously. Comes back here. I'm like, okay, my energy is going to drop. It's very difficult to maintain a very high energy state. But knowing that, you can go up and down. You can rise up if you need to. Thoda drip hone se bhi chalta hai. But not letting yourself go so low that it is difficult to climb back up. I think that is very important. That, what do they call it? That baseline. You have a high baseline and not let yourself go too low, then it becomes very difficult. So even if it is not regular practices that I'm doing, at least once in a while, checking in with myself, is everything okay? How am I feeling? How am I doing overall? These are things that I feel ensure that I don't dip too hard, so that I can, raise my energy when I need to be in that high state. Like, for example, before every session for Eunoia, especially when I'm doing all of these high energy sessions, it's not that difficult. In the starting of the day, I might feel like crap, but by that time, I know I can pick myself up and go for it, because I don't allow myself to drop so low at any given point. If I feel myself dropping, I stop myself and give myself that kind of rest that I need, whatever I need to help me feel better. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Yes, definitely. And from that, I remember when we used to ask initially about anything, that we are feeling overwhelmed or anything, you said just take a break and rest.
Yes, my go-to answer even now.
Take a rest. So I feel that copyright is to you for rest.
Honestly, so this is how I feel when people come to me and ask me, Reshma, they tell me a lot of things.
Yeah.
बहुत कुछ, मतलब ये हो रहा है, I'm getting this confusion. Okay, you need to take a break. That's always my first answer, because you know why? What's happened? That break, jitna bhi chota, big, short, big break doesn't matter. You need a break from yourself, from that thought process. That's what it is. But I can't tell that. People be like, how will I take a break from my thought process? So I say, take a break, which actually does the work.
Definitely. I see the impact. Like for me, the person who is the high in the energy generator, So taking a break, of course, it helps me to restore my energy to work more efficiently afterwards. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Rest is productive. Rest is very, very productive because you slow down, you allow yourself to rest, you get all the answers you need, you get clarity that you need, you're going to get physical energy to do the things, you're going to be in a much more better mental state to do things better. So something that is taking you hours and days will take you like that, you will be able to finish things. Why? Because you allowed yourself to rest. That's all there is. You suddenly get the right kind of messages and insights that you need for something you're breaking your head if you just rest. So I say rest very broadly. I say break very broadly. That break can be anything: emotional break, mental break, physical break, social break, whatever that break is. People know what to do. The minute I say take a break, that clicks instantly. It's like, yeah, I need to take a break. And then there are some people who still be like, this is so difficult to take a break. But my job is then to convince them to take that break. Why that break is necessary is what now I don't have to no longer do it. People don't ask me to go into that, but it's now easy for me to just standard answer, take a break. Everything will get fixed. Yeah.
Importance of the rest.
Rest is also productive. Very
Yes.
productive. All right, Mansi, I think we are ready for your rapid fire round. Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay. Chalo, we'll start.
Yes.
Okay. So, communication coach or spiritual coach?
Spiritual coach. By no no second thoughts here.
Okay. So, retreat or meetup?
Retreat.
Okay. Goa or Chennai?
Goa. Oh, no, Goa. Goa.
Right. Okay. China or Scotland?
Good. You know I have a connection. Okay, but I will still say Scotland. Scotland.
Oh,
Scotland more.
okay. So, Akashic records or intuitions?
Intuition.
Day on a couch or day on a work table?
What do you think? You know the answer to this. Day on my couch. I love my life is on that couch.
That
That
couch.
is also her work table.
Second work table.
No, first work
First
table.
work
This is
table,
second.
right. Oh God. Okay. So, your 3 a.m. spiritual friend.
Ooh. ChatGPT.
Best one.
I am not kidding. Recently, I'm having so much fun chatting with ChatGPT. And it's been happening around this time. So I
Great.
love the brainstorming, to be honest. And it's like, oh, someone who I can like just continuously brainstorm. So yeah, it's been fun.
And one thing you love from spirituality.
Okay. I just think it's getting to know myself better. It's getting to know myself better. Nothing else. Spirituality, I know I am helping and I'm doing things and I'll be doing more of this. But for me, that was what made the best. That's the best part of it, I feel, for sure.
Oh,
Getting to know myself.
great. And one word, if you want to give to your journey from the communication coach to the spiritual coach. So one word or like one sentence.
Mind blowing.
Oh, wow.
Mind blowing. Like it's crazy, right? Like I said, I cannot imagine where I am. So it has been mind blowing for sure. And I feel it's still just the very beginning. It's just like the start, and there's so much more. I turned 35 right yesterday, and I was like, okay, so 35 years later, what am I going to be doing? And I could only see visions of retreats. People, friends, couples, the beach, chilling, relaxing, doing our thing, having fun, more retreats. I'm like, at that point, you don't have responsibilities also. So I'm like, that's what I want to be doing at 17.
Great. And the last one is What one message you want to give for the newbie who want to join the spiritual journey?
Give it a try. I don't think there's anything much to say other than give it a try. I mean, what else? You just give it a try, because it's not all or nothing. One more lesson that I wanted to share, actually. You are taking out all my 35 lessons into this video. But it's not all or nothing. It's never all or nothing. So why not give it a try is what I will say, because it's just that. It doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't have to be so like, I have to find the answer, desperate. It doesn't have to be, this has to fix my life. It can just be, let's see. That's where I began. And I feel that's a great way to begin anything, because you have a choice. At every point, you have a choice. Give it a try. If it doesn't work, it's not for you. You come back later, never come back. Everything is fine. The entire spectrum is fine, right? It's okay, but give it a try. Why not?
Right. 2 years before you had given me this answer, give it a try.
And I still will say that. And I'm still saying that. I'm still saying that, because why? That's what it is.
Yeah.
क्या है मतलब? ठीक है. Try करके देखो. क्या जाता है?
Thank you for these beautiful answers.
Yeah, but I don't think I could have said anything else. I can say, be curious, experiment, have fun, but I would say just give it a try.
Yeah.
Just give it a shot. Like, there's nothing else to it. Nothing so serious.
It was amazing. Like, pura conversation felt so
Yeah.
comforting.
Yes.
Absolutely
Thank you,
had fun.
Mansi.
Yeah, Mansi, those questions, oh my God, so good.
Mansi being in her element, एकदम questions list.
हाँ ना,
That was
मेरा
so
बहुत
good.
एनर्जी ब्लॉक जो था वो निकल जा रहा है रेकी के वजह से. आई एम लाइक क्या.
Good.
So nice.
Wonderful. All right. Anything else, ladies?
No, thank you. Like,
Thank you.
thank yeah, I have joined. I tell you, yes, I'll join.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad. Yes, Shraddha.
I'm so happy I joined. Oh my God. The chunk of my life was missing, bro. I mean, come on. It is so nice to finally मतलब होता है ना, sit here, talk to you guys, especially listening to everything that you said. Oh my God. It was like each and every lesson was like, देखो. The universe was like, look at what she said. Ignore it. Yeah, I think it was beautiful. Thank you so much for inviting me. I was able to be a part of such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Exactly, bro.
Come on, I have to thank you guys for coming and asking the questions. Otherwise, imagine me talking about it, बहुत ही boring हो जाता. And we are keeping all of this in the video. As I'm saying, please keep this in the video as well. Because I think that's the whole point. The fact that we have fun is very, very important, right? And I'm grateful you guys said okay to do, because, oh my God, I cannot imagine recording something like this by myself. I will never, never do it. Right? That's why YouTube also took so long for me to come on eventually.
Finally.
You have started, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, girls, for being here, for asking such amazing, beautiful questions. I loved answering them. And actually, so much of it was interesting for me also to kind of like just think and reflect. It's lovely when that happens. So thank you so much. And if you've been watching us having fun, having a ball, this is what most of our sessions are like, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of our Eunoia sessions are, or for pretty much whatever I'm doing, it's like this. I used to be that kind of coach who was like, very sorted and, has to be like very professional and timing and this and that. Like, things have changed so much. So thank you so much for watching until the very end. I hope this answered any questions that you had, or I don't know if you even had questions, but yes, if you do have questions about spiritual journey, you want to ask more stuff, please ask in the comments. Maybe I can do some videos on those as well. And this was absolute fun for me to do. Thank you, girls. Thank you, Shraddha, Mansi, Falguni, who's been on and off. So thank you so much for doing this with me today. Yeah. All right. With that, I think I'm ready to wrap up. And if you feel called to join Eunoia, as always, you're welcome to join us. Be a part of this group that we have. And like we were talking about, we can't exactly explain what Eunoia is, but it's just a space for you to learn, grow, and become, you, like basically coming back to yourself, as I say. So yeah, if you feel called to join us, if not, that's okay as well. You can ask questions. I'm happy to be here on YouTube, actually. Finally happy to be here on YouTube doing these things, and hopefully share more videos along the way, more journeys along the way as well. So yeah, thank you so much. If I think I have to say the standard thing like comment, subscribe, and all of that stuff when it comes to YouTube. So please do that as well. And bye. See you in the next video.